All right, this episode of Fight Stories is brought to you by Absolute Nature CBD. For the finest in CBD oil and CBD oil products, go to absolutenaturecbd.com. Type in the promo code Goon Squad, get yourself 40% discount.
Goon Squad. Been getting people a lot of discounts over the last 2 years.
That's right. And it just keeps building. Next year, 98% discount.
Yeah. Oh my God. They just got to keep the Fight Stories fans coming back for more.
That's right.
and
put the CBD cream on your bruised egos.
We gotta give another shout out to our other sponsor, Uncle Ronnie's Teabag.com. Old Uncle Ronnie's just sitting there creaming his jeans, waiting for you to come up and hit his website. Get some fine Fight Stories t-shirts and paraphernalia.
Best tea bag in town.
Hook up yourself with a little Trevor Gillies Fight Stories Punches Aren't Vitamins t-shirt, or one with one of these logos on the back. That'll make you look like a superstar at the bar. No one's gonna want to scrap you then.
Or everybody.
I love when Tom O'Donnell was wearing the Fight Stories t-shirt at the bar, and some guy comes up, he's like, "Fight Stories, eh?" Tom's like, "Yeah, you want to be on the next fucking episode?" We got to get him on the podcast.
Oh, wait, should we give a Sandman update?
Oh, yeah. So the Sandman, Steve Dunn, just an absolute
first episode of season 3, by the way.
Yep, what a gem. First episode of season 3, he talks a lot about biting people in fights.
Yeah. We chopped up a couple of clips, but he did say at that episode that he had gone, I don't know, maybe it was a year and a half without getting into a fight. And I was like, and I remember thinking, like, that streak is tenuous at best.
Oh yeah. He is. He's one of those guys that, like, fighting is part of his DNA.
Yeah,
you can't breed that. He's like a pit bull. You can't breed it out of him, man. He's gonna snap onto you with a mouthful of lockjaw.
Right, literally. So anyway, so his streak is reset now. It's like it's like an accident at the factory. Like, how many days is that an accident? The clock has been reset.
Yeah, he's definitely broke the goose egg.
Yeah.
I sent him a t-shirt from Fight Stories, and he sent me a message there. He said, "Tyler, I'm looking forward to rocking that bad motherfucker. I broke my no fight streak twice in 3 weeks in October." Nice to know I'll still pull the trigger.
Yeah.
First dude got bit. Ha 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 ha.
I guess it wasn't a sober October for Steve Dunn.
Second dude got knocked out with my left because I broke my right 2 weeks earlier. Oh man, I can't wait to get him back on here, because you know that, like, he was just scratching the surface too. There's a few guys that they're definitely two-parters, and then they'll get in enough fights to create a third episode.
Yeah, exactly. They keep coming back.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we look forward to that. Maybe season 4.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to have like an all-star seson.
Yeah.
Or like a Fight Stories reality show where it's like Fight House, and it's kind of like Ultimate Fighter, but with like all wild cards from our
yeah.
That would be way more entertaining.
I thought you were like Ultimate Fighter. I was like Last Comic Standing. Like, you know, the first season they'd go into the booth and be like, "I'm tougher than," boom, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it'd be like a combination of that, you know, because Ultimate Fighter, those dudes all actually are, you know, real MMA fighters. I mean, Steve Dunn is a real MMA fighter, but like our other wild cards are way more average Joe Street Fighter type guys.
Right.
That would be a fun house to put all those wing nuts in.
Can you imagine the insurance binder you would need on that episode?
I don't want to imagine it.
Yeah.
I do not want to imagine that paperwork
and
litigation.
Who's got the jam to insure this show?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of circuses, did you see the Jake Paul Triller Fight Club pay-per-view? What?
I saw the fight. I
Okay.
wanted to see the pay-per-view, but I'm not paying the pay-per-view.
So I didn't pay the pay-per-view. I had a link.
Nice.
I think it was not illegal.
Right.
I think it wasn't illegal.
It was in that gray area.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But I watched it, and it was someone's calling me. 1 second. Oh, it's Jake Paul. Pretty pissed. No, I did. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I was watching UFC on my big screen. I just had the Fight Club event on my computer.
Right.
So I was watching two at once, but it was. You had Snoop Dogg commentating and Mario Lopez. It's just such a
Mario Lopez was there commentating.
Mario Lopez knows his boxing though. Mario Lopez actually is an educated boxing fan. He's always been into it. I think since back in the day. He does know his shit. But then you get like, oh Christ, who else? Trying to think who else was on.
I remember Pete Davidson was there for the last.
Pete Davidson was there, yeah. and then I turned back to it like I wasn't paying attention. Then I looked back, and now Ric Flair is refereeing a slap fight between two guys in like a warehouse, or it would have been like the arena, ground level of the arena. Two guys are doing like a slap fight, and it was like a serious slap fight.
Yeah,
and you could tell Ric Flair was just like doing it for the money.
Oh yeah.
But he was. I mean, it's Ric Flair. He's the man. He's so entertaining. And how many millions of people were watching? Everyone's watching this.
Oh man, I gotta go back and I gotta YouTube the slap fight.
Dude, it was a great slap fight. Oh, you would love it because we were just talking about this. We were just talking about this last episode. You love the slap fights. Yeah. These guys. There's a black guy and a white guy, and for whatever reason, I could just tell the black guy was gonna fucking win. The white guy, I don't even know who they were, because like sometimes these I guess these guys who are on this thing are, someone online,
right?
I guess.
You know what I mean? They're just walking off the street. They've done it a few times.
Yeah, and but even the boxers in it, the one boxing match was like a billionaire from the UK, and he's fighting against Raekwon, the reggae artist. So
no. Raekwon, the chef or whatever from Wu-Tang or some other guy.
Dude, it was someone who was. Let's find this out. We should look this up. Okay.
Yeah.
It was because they got into a fight. Or they almost got into a fight at a nightclub over a chick. Wow. Yeah, which is hilarious. And they're like, let's take this to Triller. Yeah, Raekwon. I'm pretty sure this is who it was. Maybe it's not the Wu-Tang guy. No, it's not the Wu-Tang guy. Okay. The Wu-Tang guy's bigger. I could be like it's Raekwon or something. Like it's definitely like spelled similar. Let's just look up Triller Fight Club Jake Paul, and we'll find out what the guy's name is. Fight Club card. Let's see this. We'll see. Because these guys, they had a problem over a girl.
What a way to sort it out.
Well, it's Raekwon, Reykon.
Okay.
So he's a legit. He's like a legit reggae guy. I'm pretty sure. Okay. I don't listen to that music. Can you tell? I like Inner Circle, Bad Boys. That's my number one jam, though.
Yeah.
The Cops theme song. That's
reaching back for that one. Is that still on the air to get canceled yet?
Oh no, fuck! It's still. My father-in-law listens to that in his Mercedes Benz. So anyway, the guys who are on it though, they're not nobodies. They are, Frank Mir. the former heavyweight UFC champion. He was boxing I think the guy was a cruiserweight champion boxer. So they're not all tomato cans, but they're all kind of like out of shape or like on the way down type thing.
It is amazing that this guy, I mean, how pissed must other boxers be who are like, dude, I've been in this business for 20 years, slugging it out at the gym, and here comes this YouTube fucking twink. Not that he's a twink, but in a legit boxer's eye, they think so. And he's making 10 million and he's had 2 fights and he's fighting fucking goofballs, you know?
Yeah. It would be tough. It would be tough to swallow, but it's just like us when Dustin Diamond comes and headlines a club, or
well, I mean, yeah, or even worse. It's like, you know, the YouTube people were like, we were the first grounds that they assaulted. You know what I mean? Like, they
and everyone let us fucking take it.
Yeah, and now they're fucking taking over fighting. Like, how? You know?
Yeah, that's true. That is really true. They came in, you know, it's one of those things like everyone was silent when they came in, fucked us.
Yeah.
But numbers dictate and eyeballs dictate. That's just it, man. Like,
dude, I mean, you know what? Some of these other fucking boxing dudes, you know, they're gonna take note, you know, for what these guys are doing right.
Up your game, be interesting. Like, look at a guy, even MMA, like Dylan Donis. That guy is interesting. He knows how to get attention. He knows how to get eyeballs. His fights are going to be worth more money than a guy who is just humble. You know, if you're too humble, it sucks because, like, you know, that is part of the. If you watch Karate Kid, being humble is part of the mantra, right? Like it's part of like what you're
but that was kind of, you know, that is kind of it. You know, you get like a lot of guys who are, you know, their focus is in the ring. They're not out there running their mouths. They let their fists do the talking, you know.
Yep.
But that's not, you know, what sells, you know.
But not now. And I feel like it's okay. I feel like it's a big part of this has to do with the WWE Attitude Era and how that changed everything. Because remember, wrestling has always been the trendsetter for all this stuff. Wrestling was the big event. If you look at before the Attitude Era, it was always the hero versus the villain, right? It was always the babyface versus the heel. And then the Attitude Era, it became a shift over where the villain, the heel, became the person that everyone's cheering for. So the person who is more interesting and dangerous and has they're getting the juice from the fans. Right. If they're over from the fans because they're kind of let in on it, well, that's why you see a guy like Conor McGregor come along and be the bad guy and blow shit out of the water. He's taking a combination of whoever from wrestling, like The Rock or Stone Cold, and then crossing that with Muhammad Ali. And because it's not sports entertainment, it's actual like hand-to-hand combat. That takes it to a whole other stratosphere, and that's what's making the money fights. So other people see this, and they're trying to emulate that. You see Kobe Covington, he's trying to be the villain. I mean, it's kind of like a watered-down version. It's like the mega version of that. Chael Sonnen was the man at this. He was almost the innovator in UFC at being the bad guy mouthpiece. And then Conor took it to the next level. But Chael was the guy who kind of innovated that in UFC because there wasn't a lot of guys that were on that same thing. It was, again, most people are kind of that are in martial arts. They're trained to be humble, right?
Right.
And so it's that entertainment factor that like switches in. You need villains, you need heroes and villains.
But this is all entertainment. You know?
This is something else. Oh, I mean, listen, this guy knows what he's doing. Jake Paul. Yeah, I think he's fun. Listen. I'm glad he won against Ben Askren because it sets it up for a more fun fight. Ben Askren to me wasn't that fun of a fight. It was like interesting to see. But really, Ben Askren didn't have the power in his hands.
Ben Askren just seems like, I don't even know if he trained, dude. It seems like he got right up on the couch. And
was very happy.
Let me go get this check for $500,000.
No, it was $5 million.
Ben Askren got $5 million?
I'm pretty sure it's 5 million.
Oh, I thought he got a half a mil.
I think it was. I think it was 5.
Whatever it
We
is.
should check that out. We should check that out. So I saw someone tweet 5 million. I think I saw 5 million tweeted twice by two different people.
Wow.
It was big. Let's. You know what? Fuck it. Let's look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. How much will each make? Ben Askren, 500 grand.
Oh, 500 grand? I thought he won more. Maybe he won more because he took the fucking dive. That was a fucking
Right.
dive, Askren.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was a dive. Oh my God. I'm sorry. That was, you know what? It connected flush, but it wasn't a knockout. That guy's been hit harder than that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, he looked crazy, unprepared and out of shape. And, I feel like I could walk in there and put up just about the same fight.
Yeah, like, listen, I feel like what's happening is this. Jake Paul definitely is a skilled boxer. He has skills. He looks good. He knows what he's doing. He is not a punk, and people want him to be a punk so bad. But that's what's selling the fight. They know that people want him to be. They want him to lose. They are selling everything on the fact that people want Jake Paul to lose. But Jake Paul is actually pretty good. But they're not putting anyone
But
in
he's
front of
not.
Jake Paul that
Right.
can actually hurt him.
Exactly. They're not letting anybody else make their name off of beating Jake Paul. It's all
Well,
very calculated. Like, where
if
did they
it
even find
happens,
Ben Askren for this fight?
no, Ben Askren doesn't have heavy hands. He's not a heavy-handed striker, and he's a wrestler. He's an amazing competitor. And like the
Right.
people that were saying Ben Askren's gonna win, they're saying it's because he has this pedigree as a competitor.
Right.
He is like an NCAA wrestling champion. Like, you don't just become that, but like, it's so different when you
Right.
take away his number one skill.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah. If you let
Boxing is
that,
its
if
own
you let
thing.
that, if that's an MMA fight, it
If it's an
probably
MMA fight, yeah,
it probably goes the same length of time and before Jake Paul taps out.
10 times out of 10, that's Askren. But that's the same thing about, and this is not even the same comparison, really, but taking McGregor and putting him up against Mayweather. Right. McGregor's got hands. He's a good fight. He was actually an all right boxer, but he's going against the best boxer in the world.
Right.
You're going to fucking lose. And Jake Paul isn't even the best boxer in the world, but Ben Askren isn't even anywhere near Conor McGregor hand level,
Right.
So you're taking, it's still if you are strategically and specifically training in boxing and boxing only, and a guy has to come and do that who doesn't do that, you are at an advantage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, like I said, these guys are handpicked. It's like
yeah. He's getting, and I hate to call Askren a tomato can,
right,
but he's getting tomato cans put up in front of him, and Askren acted like a tomato can, because I felt like that was some Bruce Willis jumping on Zed's bike and driving out of town. That type of
yeah. I mean, he must have been like, whatever, dude. I'm getting $500,000. When was the last time he got $500,000?
Did you see after the fight him walking out of there smiling?
Yeah, nice.
That makes everyone mad, eh? Everyone,
yeah.
A lot of people were betting on him too.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yep.
Not me.
So did you notice, I don't know if you noticed, but what's the guy's name who does the announcing? Famous dude. Max. No.
Which one?
The guy, let's get ready to rumble.
Oh yeah, Michael Buffer.
So Buffer mispronounces Askren's name. He calls him Askew.
Oh, okay.
Ben Askew.
I didn't see that.
Do you think that was an error on his part, or do you think that's what he was given, like almost as another shot at Ben Askren before?
Maybe.
Because personally, I think he's such a professional, he doesn't make that mistake.
Okay, So yeah, I don't know. Are you do you know the Buffers? Do you know like much about them?
I mean, I just know that he's the guy. He's the voice, you know?
There's two, right?
Right.
So that's Michael, and then there's Bruce does the UFC, and Michael does the boxing. Anyway, I should know if you knew that, but yeah, maybe he just he just didn't know his name as well because he's not the one that does the UFC. Bruce does the UFC, so Bruce probably wouldn't fuck it up.
I mean, these guys don't know any of these guys when they're getting the name, they're nailing the name. They're they're pros.
Yeah, he must have just been given like
I bet you he was given the wrong name, and it was just one more like slight, like one more little psychological fucking fuck you.
Who knows? Because that press conference got kind of like, I mean, you see Askren push him, give him the face palm, and then it was heated, right? That they knew what they were doing. They definitely sold that fight really well for what it ended up being. It was such a letdown. What a bummer of a fight.
Let's get to this episode here.
Sure. This one's good. This one's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those episodes too where it's nice to like bring on people who comedians who I started out with. I definitely have known these comics for a long time, and it was cool for me to know that I didn't realize that you knew both these comics pretty good, right? From New York, because they moved down there.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to cross
paths.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I never would have taken Wells as a fighter at all because I'm always too busy making a scene and a fucking jackass of myself.
Yeah. And Wells isn't like a big guy, right? Like
no. And he was pretty reserved. Like, he's doing some camera shit. In my mind, I'm just always like these behind the scenes people are fucking nerds,
Yeah. So where did you meet them though?
We were shooting some awful like comedy sketch show, and those guys were like sort of working, production on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, those guys are all, I love Tim. I think that those guys probably came down with Tim Dorsch, Desiree's husband. I love Tim. I think those guys.
If you're Canadian, Tim Dorsch is the Zamboni guy from the MasterCard commercials back in the day. Classic Canadian commercial.
Wait, was he though?
Yeah, he was. He was the Zamboni guy. There's like that song, "I Want to Drive the Zamboni."
Oh yeah,
like this is a Canadian classic commercial. But yeah,
I didn't know that.
Was the Zamboni guy from that commercial.
And Tim Dorsch actually, he's another guy I would never expect to be a fighter.
We found out.
Yeah, but he did say that he like worked in a homeless shelter and like watched, people scrap to the death over calling somebody a goof.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the episode.
Yeah, fire it up. Desiree Lavoy Dorsch and J. Wells Lecuyer.
Yeah.
I think I pronounced that right.
You went up with it. You did. You could tell you were unsure. You're just like, "Blah."
Well, Tyler, you want to launch it in? Start it up?
No, you do it.
Wow! Welcome to Fight Stories. This is John Moses. As always, my co-host Tyler Morrison, and we have got an episode lined up for you guys all the way from Canada, the very lovely Desiree Lavoy Dorsch. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. And Jay Wells, I've never known you other than anything other than Wells, but he's got the l'ecure.
That's the French-Canadian side of me there. But
nice. Is that literally Wells translated for both anglais and français?
L'écuyer, s'il vous plaît.
So cool, man. I'm pretty, I think this is going to be a fun episode. I forget who told me about your vicious wild side, Desiree. It must have been Tyler, but I remember the first time I heard it, I laughed uncontrollably because you seem like such a mild-mannered person. Every time I've met you, you've always just been like a really nice, quiet person.
I am a nice, quiet person. I'm actually deeply ashamed of that.
Being a guest on our podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really wanted to talk to people. It's been so long since we've been allowed out of our houses.
Yeah, that's it.
Like talk to people about my most humiliating moment, like it's anything. Also, the last time I was able to talk to anybody was at mom groups, and I can't talk to them about anything.
Right, anything real.
Yeah, they hate me.
Yeah. Kick their ass.
There's like some show about some moms, and there's like this woman's always like barking off at these moms groups. Have you seen it? It's like a Canadian show.
Is it Working Moms?
I think it might be that. She's
It
like
is
in some
Working
breastfeeding group or something, and like her and one other woman are always being extremely inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's shot in Toronto.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've seen the Australian one, but I was on like a mom chat room, and they were going off about working moms, and for some reason that made me think I never wanted to see it. Just
Yeah.
these women are just, I don't know why, but they're just not that fun to talk to.
Yeah, I think that appeals to people who think that they're like those types of people, but they're absolutely not those people.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
like they don't
Yeah, they think
realize
it's gonna
they're.
be like sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they think it's going to be like a group of all their friends. Like, oh, I get to talk with all these like-minded people about something. And
Right.
then you realize it's a bunch of fucking strangers and their weird ways of doing things.
Yeah, it doesn't take long for politics to burst out.
Yeah.
And the judgment, me judging. I'm not in a mom's group, obviously, but with the baby, everyone just wants to talk.
I
Baby
should
all the
catfish in a mom's group.
Yeah.
Boy. All right. And Jay, I was surprised that you had so many fight stories too.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a very
it's
Canadian,
kind of similar to
very
Des,
Canadian
but
episode, like a very Canadian heritage moment.
yeah,
Like
like
just
we're
nice,
so
just nice,
precious and
respectful
polite,
people
but
with fight
like
stories.
fucking, yeah, like I don't know. It's a very, I met Des, we were 19, and like the first fight story we have together was like that first year we met, and we met in class at like that Humber School of Comedy with a billion other comedians in Toronto, and
I was there.
I had that same thought about Des, like just the quietest, most unassuming person, but we started hanging out, and I saw like that really fun side of her, and yeah, this like I was like, oh fuck yeah, and I think a lot of people thought that about me too, because I've always been pretty small and like not quiet. I was kind of a psycho back then, but not out for blood or anything. Just if somebody fucked around, I really couldn't let them get away with anything.
Do you attribute that to alcohol? Like, was alcohol a big
It was like
a big instigator?
I mean, the therapeutic side of things
Right.
would be early on my dad being an angry fuck.
Right.
And, you know,
So you're close.
that, yeah. And then like my mom was like, you know, sweep it all under the rug. Don't talk about anything. So I was just so much anger and like the classic beast out of the cage when I went out to Humber at like 18 and met everybody. It was like, the shackles were free and the parents were hours away. And I just, whatever, if it was fighting or, you know, trying to get laid or any kind of insane story, my MO was just like hospital or jail or banging some girl in some weird place. But it was like,
Like her bum.
was that sorry? Excuse me?
Depends where you are. Damn. So when was like the first time? Was Humber like the first time you've ever been in a fight, or no?
No, I was in a lot of hockey fights in high school. I grew up in Welland, Ontario, with this pretty nutty hockey town. There's a lot of NHLers that came out of there, and I mean, I was in house league, but there were times where I made like a single A team or an all-star team, and you travel to, you know, other towns and start seeing like my talent was nowhere near some of the other kids, but
Right.
there were times where I'd like run into guys that were way bigger than me, and I'd realize like, I don't know if I was stronger on my skates or whatever it was, that I was knocking guys over that were bigger than me, and I stopped being afraid of physical confrontations like that.
Right,
So I
right,
just started like, that became part, like, as so many hockey stories, like my way of contributing to the team was fucking somebody up if they touched anyone on my team with actual skill.
It's fucking fascinating.
There were pretty nutty ones, like full out, like buckets off, like I was knocked out cold or I knocked someone out cold. Like
Wow.
Bench during brawls. It was like in Grimsby, Ontario, or wherever the fuck we were. And like, and my dad loved it. That was like really the only, he was like the coach or the assistant coach. And like, I just saw praise from it early on. And like, when I got up to Humber, and I'd never really been in an actual street fight at all until I got up to Toronto. And yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think I just got into one and I kicked the guy's ass and got that like 18-year-old fucking invincible feeling.
Right,
that I thought, just, and it was, I was never out for like, there was never a thing, I'm going to get into a fight tonight. It was like, I'm going
to drink 25 beers and see what happens.
Well, that was, yeah, like that. I would finish a bottle with Dylan Gott and like Des and Dez's husband, Tim Dorsch, and Garrett Jameson. And like, there was a huge crew of us at Humber that, yeah, I would just finish a bottle of whiskey before going to the bar and then rack up a pretty sweet tab because I was just like learning my limits and trying as hard as I could to drink as much as, like, train myself to drink as much as I could. And then something would happen. I don't know. We were all these like nerdy comedian kids that would be loud and obnoxious and, you know, funny to ourselves at bars, but someone, I don't know, would take offense to it or bully. Like there was clear bullying in like clubs and bars in Toronto that I just had no part of, and I would actively, like, I don't know, go towards it and try to kick the shit out of anyone that I don't know, fucked with my friends.
Yo, wasn't the first time I met you guys on that the Laughing set and I like farted in somebody's face?
This guy. I was gonna kick your fucking ass. But I was in New York and I was afraid of everything. And you're much bigger and your hands are as big as my face.
I was so lucky you were so far out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I was a fish out of water. And no, everyone laughed a lot and I was like, oh yeah, that was pretty funny. But your anus was right here. Like, you got up on a chair. I think it was like an improv moment where you were obviously trying to be very funny on camera and had to fart at the same time. So I couldn't fault you for that.
It was a classic moment.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you win like the first one and then you know you start getting a little bit of liquid courage, but like, so like, how were you sizing guys up? Like, were you like, all right, this guy's too big? Or were you like, oh, the bigger the better because it'll look
bigger the better.
So much better if I beat the shit out of him?
Were you there the one night, like, what was that, sorry?
Or is that not even really a consideration? It's just...
No, it was whoever the fuck was in front of me that, like, I just never got, like, other than this, like, I got 29 stitches in my face from a whiskey bottle.
29? That's
later, like years later. But before then, I'd never really been hurt ever, and I'd broken a lot of bones on, like, you know, BMX and skateboarding, and pain really, like, I used to do that stupid jackass type shit in high school and you know, jump off roofs, and
so you had a pretty high threshold.
I could take like fucking, there's been scraps where I've taken way too many punches in the face and like just actively try to stay awake and aware, because I've seen scraps where a guy goes down and someone keeps kicking or hitting, like those really scary, like there's no, you know, UFC ref there to call it, so somebody can get really fucked up. So I would, whether I was getting hit. What's up?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, if you go down, it's not even the guy that you're fighting you got to be worried about. It's like the guy who's getting on the sidelines that wants to throw that extra kick.
Right, who feel like he's missing out.
Yeah, I've been in like several of those where there's like 20 guys involved and you really have no idea who's, like, your friends are beside you, but you get a punch from some random angle that you look around, like, I don't know, it's just sort of a stay awake, stay aware, and keep swinging, and whoever the fuck is in front of me is gonna get it. And I would hit, like, I don't know, I don't really have like a beefy like knockout punch. It was very machine gun, no technique, no, like, just like these tiny little hands. Like, I really just, it was all like, I gotta keep, it was like, I don't know, I called it like punching a clock. You just like sign in for work and you just go until they stop or they're out, because then they can't hurt you. at all.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot style. You're playing the speed merchant game, and
yeah, and I had the energy to do it, the speed and energy of like a fucking 20-year-old. My last scrap was probably 26, I'd say, like 8 years ago. But that span of like 16 to 26 was like probably 30 plus, like real tilts. And a couple with Desiree.
that's a good
A couple? Oh. Desiree was making it sound like it was only one and it didn't really happen.
No, this one was...
Well, the other one didn't happen either. I mean, it didn't. I didn't do anything in that one except for
Which
like
one?
saying the first one. I didn't do anything in
One with
either.
the gun?
Actually. Yeah.
Oh,
No, that one you were my hero.
Was this an improv prop or was this an actual gun?
No, it was a real fucking gun at Kipling and Lakeshore by Humber. We were like, I kind of want to get into this one because I want Desiree to. Do you remember that one, Des?
Yeah, I do remember that one. I remember it was like two kind of ex-co wearing guys. And
straight out of that like real Slim Shady video, those Eminem wannabe like bleach blonde hair.
Yeah.
Probably like my size, like nothing big or scary at all, but
yeah. But they were really, I remember that they were very offended that you were being mean to their neighborhood's mailbox.
I was ripping people's mailboxes out of like
so you were being the asshole.
I was this one, but I didn't like. The goal was never to start a fight. I had my headphones in, like listening to like this crazy death metal. I'm a huge metal fan.
My own business.
So I'm blackout drunk, coming home from all you can eat wings night with Desiree and a billion other of our friends.
Yeah.
Dylan Gott was there, and like Garrett and Tim, and just a bunch of comedy friends, and it was like 2, 3 in the morning, and I all this fucking shithead rage in me as a child, I would just like pick up people's garbage pails and throw them into the street and like walk on cars and like kick people. Like I was just a savage fucking child idiot, and I was like going up to every house and like I don't know whatever the fucking creative rage mind is, like rip people's mailboxes off their front porch and like
creative rage mind is a good way to put it, because there have been moments where I've been so rageful and like but also creative.
Yeah, and
that's all like
fun. If you're gonna go for it, why not go
doors at Halloween for no reason? It's just like, why are you fucking doing that, you little dickhead?
Oh, I would pit me in like on the same. I might have been even the same night on the way to the bar. Those row of houses at like Kipling and Lakeshore in Etobicoke, and there's like basement apartments where people have like a window that's along the ground, and I saw it was open, and I looked in and it was like someone's bed, and I pissed all over it. Like I just like pissed through this guy's window or whoever it was onto their
I lived in that neighborhood. You didn't do that to me, did you?
I really hope not.
405 Kipling?
Something like that. Yeah, it was right at we were on 13th Street, me and Des. But then on the way back, so I'm hammered as fuck and just ripping mailboxes out of the walls or people's houses. And I didn't know this because I had my headphones in and blaring metal. But also all that happens was a huge push from behind, and like I fall, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I get up, and I look, and it's what Des described as 2 like Eminem wannabe kids, just going, "Yo, you fucking with my hood? What you fucking with my hood?" So I just like take out my earbuds.
Wrong, but somehow they're so much more hateable still. Like even though,
that's what I mean. I'm like, like fuck your like, like yo and because they were across the street. What people told me later were like these guys were just across the street doing whatever, and they saw me fucking with people's mailboxes, and they were taking a stand for their neighborhood. Like yo, what the and so he came across the street, pushing from behind. All I do is I turn around, take my earphone out, and he goes, "Yo, you fucking with my hood?" And I just decked him as hard as I could. Just like he goes down like one punch, and I'm like, his buddy jumps on me, and then
that was good.
Guy, he gets up, and there's 2 guys like kind of rolling around with me. They got me down, and there's 2 guys, and there's a circle of all these comedians around me. And what I loved about Desiree, and what surprised me more, that she like was the one of all the people around me that jumped in as my second man. And So that's always.
So what happened with that, Desiree? Did you exchange any blows?
No, I think I just kind of touched his shoulder, and then all I remember after that was they had the gun, and then I was like,
Yeah.
of all the times to try to be like an active participant, because I was thinking too, like before that happened, I was thinking like maybe like days or weeks before, because so many of these fights happen all the time.
Yeah.
It was always like people like, somebody getting like pushed around and then somebody getting hurt, and then I was like, I always just sit there and I never help and I never
I love you so much.
and I'm not
That's like me cleaning up after dinner.
Sometimes you just feel the duty. You feel a call of duty.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take your turn. And then so I thought next time something happens, I'll make a point to like, I won't just sit on the sidelines and be like lazy about it.
No passengers, bud. No fucking passengers.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's 20 comedians standing out.
I know.
Yeah, they were always like circle around us, like, what's happening? And then somebody's like,
Garrett's howling
I
at the
don't know if
boat.
Garrett was there. Yeah, Garrett's man. Me and Garrett have gotten to some real ones, and
Garrett's
saved my
been a
ass.
couple too, huh?
Oh yeah.
So
But
funny.
this one, the gun, like out of nowhere, I'm just like, I'm kicking this guy's ass, and his buddy's like, he's on my back trying to drag me off his buddy, and then he's off me, and I just hear like, "You want to get capped? You want to get capped?" And I just thought that was a line, like I was like 19 or something, and was just like, "Yeah, okay, buddy." Like, you Eminem wannabe kids, like you just hear, "You want to get capped?" You don't think to fucking get up and react to a gun. And out of nowhere, he pulled out an actual gun. And he put it to Dylan Gott's stomach randomly, who was like right there. I think he was trying to break people up. And our buddy RJ, who was in our class, he put it like right to our faces. I was just like, okay. Like, so like I go from punching his buddy, a billion times, seeing a gun and getting it kind of put to my stomach. And I was just like, sorry. Didn't mean it. So sorry. Like, and we all just kind of froze, like hands up, obviously. And then they just sort of like, yeah, that's right. Like, aiming at a like side. And as they kind of ran away though. So I don't know. Who knows if it was real or not. It looked and felt pretty real. Yeah.
So what happened? So so what did you do? You grabbed the guy who was on his back, and then that's when the gun came out? Like, what did you do exactly?
I guess so. I think that whatever I did wasn't very effective. I think I did like grab him and try and pull him off. And then
probably rolling around in there. It felt like a Tasmanian devil type, like, I don't know. Who knows what happens in those, like, you just feel.
It.
Yeah.
It probably just was a heavy backpack type move on him for like, and that was the extent of it. And then probably somebody, I don't know, I'd assume that probably somebody pulled me off and was like, why are you being so stupid? You're like a 5-foot girl, go away.
Was it Tim? Is that when you guys fell in love? It was like,
I'm sure that he didn't like, I'm sure that he wasn't into that.
Right.
Doing, yeah.
Right.
But
so what about your husband? Has he been in a couple of scrapes?
Yeah, he has. I'm trying to think of any specific ones.
Because I know he told me a story about like a homeless guy calling another homeless guy a goof, and then the other homeless guy stabbed him, and he was just kind of there like witnessing it. So I feel like he's another guy
he's
unassumingly accustomed to it.
Yeah, what was the one that you were thinking of? Because I can't think off the top of my head of any.
One in New York, like we were at Katz's Deli at like 3 a.m. and me and Tim have kind of, we've known each other since we were like 19, and I've always had this kind of brotherly, like we've gone at it, like shake hands, whatever happens, we're still friends after this, and like actually thrown punches at each other. And
that's so crazy.
The one time, like we lived together, all of us in one big house for like 2 months because we got evicted in no time. But like, I got him down. I was doing the like such a douchey, like stop hitting yourself type thing with his own hands, and he like bit my chest when I think we were like 20, but he left this like, I don't know why, he just reached up, like his hands, he couldn't do anything. So he just like reached up with his mouth and bit my chest as hard as he could. It was bleeding. Like I had this chomp mark. The bruise was like so big and it hurt so bad. But the real one was in New York. It was like Katz's Deli at like 3 a.m. where we were just sick of each other. And we're like, fuck you, no, fuck you. And we kind of squared off. And before I could even say anything, he punched me in the nose so hard. And like, I have this picture where my nose, like from the next day I texted it to him and I'm like, look what you fucking did. Like, he like, it was twice as fat and it had this cut along the bridge. Like, I'm like, you like, I think I didn't ever got it tested or anything. I've definitely had my nose broken a few times, but like,
yeah, that
I don't know if it was.
The cut always makes me feel like that's a break, you know?
The swelling for me was just, I couldn't breathe out of it. And it was like this fucking fat. But our friend, do you guys know Dwayne Hill at all? He was like a Canadian voice guy, but he played Coach Carr in Mean Girls for all of your late 20s, early 30s.
No. My wife would get
fans that are barely watching. He's a big man. He's like 6'5" and like 3 something, but he's like breaking us up. He thought it was real, and it kind of was. Like I was swinging at him, and I connected a couple times, but he got me that one in the nose. But like, you know, those your friends, what are you doing? And broke us up.
That's very Dwayne.
Later, I had to tell him. What was that?
That's very Dwayne of him. To say,
yeah,
your friendship.
Guys, you're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't picture Tim Dorsch getting in a fight. He's too nice of a guy.
He's been in a lot in high school. He went to a rough high school.
Okay. Yeah, I never even would have pegged him for that type of temperament.
Yeah,
this one time.
Yeah, but that's any guys. You're all very unassuming that way, you know?
Must be the Canadian.
We were at this keg party. Des, were you at D-Rock's keg party when we got into that huge fight? And Tim,
yes, I was.
Yeah.
That's
this
one
big
of my
guy
favorite stories, actually.
Okay. Well, I got it, you guys. We're at this keg party in Port Credit, Mississauga. Our buddy D-Rock was in that Humber class with us. And Hunter Collins' band, they were playing Preposterous in the basement. And I was rocking out with the band. Like I was like screaming like metal songs and stuff. And I didn't know this at the time, but later D-Rock, our friend, went up to me and was like, this guy, Curtis, this huge fucking ape of a dude who like, I later found all this out. He would just like ruin their lives in high school. He was like literally like the high school bully that would, and like I think 3-4 years older than us or something, but would just like ruin their day in high school for like years. And he crashed the party
right now.
What's up?
We need Curtis to call in right now. Just like,
yeah.
This is your life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a cheap shot.
Yeah. And then he had this like pink polo shirt on, like he was a very like Jersey Shore type fucker.
Classic bully.
Yeah, like open polo shirt, pop collar, pink fucking like Ralph Lauren polo shirt, and like head taller than me, such a big fucking man. But like I didn't know this at all when I was singing on the mic with the Hunter. He was going to D-Rock like, who's this fucking guy singing? He's fucking annoying about me. And he's like, oh, he's just my friend Wells. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So he's just like eyeing me all night. I had no idea. So I'm just up by the keg getting beer, obviously. And he goes, yo, buddy. He comes up to me. He's like, you want to play shot for shot? And I was like, no, like hey man, who are you? Like, I've never seen you before in my life. And he's like, come on, don't be a fucking pussy. And he just punched me in the shoulder as hard as he could. And I was like,
shot for shot.
Fuck off. Like, don't fucking touch me. Fuck you. And he's like, come on, stop being a little bitch. And he like punched me again in the shoulder. And and it hurt so bad. Like my arm just like went numb down to the like hand. And I was like, don't fucking like just getting bombed. Like probably drinking since like 11 a.m. that day. And like I wanted to hit him so bad, but he's so much bigger than me. And I was like, don't fucking touch me. He does it a third fucking time. And he's like, come on. And he like, puts his arm up, like he like exposes it for me. And I'm like, all right. So I like put my drink down and I cocked my fist and just like took a running start, like 2-3 steps, and as hard as I could, punched him so fucking hard in the jaw, like as hard as I could ever muster up. And he just sort of like turns and like just looks down at me like I kissed him on the fucking cheek.
Oh
And I'm
no.
like, oh fuck. And then he like, so he just grabs for me, and then like I mentioned earlier, I'm just like, well, I'm in this now, and I just start going into like rock'em sock'em mode, just punching him as hard as I could, like as many times as I could. I pushed him into this table, and I had him kind of like over this table, and his buddies are on me, and Tim Dorsch and like other comic friends are on me, and I didn't know, but they told me later where like Dorsch had this like porcelain candle holder thing, like all holding hands, and it was like heavy. It was like stone, and he was going to swing at Curtis Guy's face, and it fucking weighed like 30 pounds of like stone. And D-Rock like stopped him and was just like, no, like don't, like, you know, he was trying to break it up. But Tim, I think it was like this huge tussle right around this like 12 set of stairs on this back deck. I'm just swinging away. I'm getting punched from like the side and the back of the head. Like his friends were, you know, it was a big melee or whatever.
Oh,
and then, like,
they didn't like D-Rock or fucking Curtis taking on himself, huh?
And everyone kind of just jumped in. I think like my friends came in, their friends, and then, but we're by huge stairs. So I'm tumbling down the stairs with some guy, and I'm swinging like while we're like falling down the stairs, and we get to the bottom of the stairs, and I start hitting this person, and all I hear is like, Wells, it's me. And I'm like, who the fuck is me? I'm like, I'm just swinging. And he's like, it's Tim, stop. And he's like, he pulled me away off of this guy to stop, but then we fell down the stairs together. And
yeah, you were just throwing blind. Oh, that's so funny.
But then on the way out, this guy, so they pushed me back against the wall while Curtis leaves. And as I'm down at the bottom of the stairs, he's coming down the stairs with his friends. But as he passes me, I saw such a fucking clean opening, like through faces, where I just like hammered him again as hard as I could in the side of the face. Like I just hated that he was still walking and like not that hurt. Like it fucking angered me because he punched my friend Phil Moorhead, another great comedian in Toronto. He broke his nose. He split his nose like a fucking cherry. And I was so angry about that, and I was angry that like I got stopped or whatever, and I hit him again, and we just started scrapping again before everyone, you know. But then I heard later that our buddy Keith Pedro was there with his friends, and he was like, one of his friends had a gun in the car and was just like, I'm gonna go get it or whatever. And I was like, no, let's not let it, like, the guy's gone. That was just a good scrap. Felt good after because everyone was like, yeah, it was just like, hey, we all came out of it. Like one buddy got his nose broken and we tumbled down the stairs, but I kind of came out of it pretty, not very hurt at all, which was great. Yeah. And then later, like all those guys would message me like, dude, you have no, like that was our high school bully, like a guy that like ruined our life for years. Right.
The fact that you even broke even with him is like, it might give Curtis pause before he picks up another motherfucker, you know?
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
small
cool.
Child.
The last two fights I got in were at a Preposterous concert, so I think they got. They used to get people riled up. They're good.
Did they do the Super Soaker with whiskey in it? And like, man, they would fill Super Soakers with whiskey and pump it up and just shoot me in the face with it, and it would just go all in my eyes and nose and like.
Yeah. front row at their album release party. You're probably standing right beside me, and Barry Taylor. We all got hit right in the face.
Yeah.
At whiskey.
What was it? Sneaky D's, something like that.
Yeah, Sneaky D.
Yeah. Great times.
So what about this? What about this Warped Tour fight with you, Desiree? What happened with that?
Well, that I think part of that was just like we were so hyped up in the morning, and I remember when we got there, like with it being a festival and everything, O'Gorman was telling us, like, this isn't like a regular comedy show. It's not a comedy show. It's a battle. It's a war zone. Like, you're not here to entertain. You're here to survive and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was in that mindset. And then it was so awkward, too, the way they had it set up, because they had the stage, and then in front of it, there was a bunch of young kids, like maybe 12 or 13, and then it's like, okay, well.
Oh, man, please tell me you fucked up a kid.
Was it a comedy tent, like a side stage at Warped?
It was in Arrow Hall. It was a fucking airplane hangar. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw Rock the Bells in that same, like, it was Warped Tour. It was fucking like thousands of kids, and they were all just scattered, like on picnic tables, because they put us, like what Desiree was saying, there was 2 sections. There was the 19 and over section, and then there was the, you know, all ages section. And they thought like, oh, comedy, we'll put them in there. And we were all like, oh, it's Warped Tour. Like, I remember Warped Tour in fucking 03, 04, you know, was nuts. And now it's kind of like really commercialized and, you know, kiddie.
Right, now you guys are fucking babysitting.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and they didn't, whoever booked us, like, was doing complete, like, such filthy shit. Me and Eitan had that group, Rick and Chuck, this, like, violent rap group that, it was a joke, but it was, like, the most horrifying language. But we got booked on it, and we're like, here's your venue. We looked at it like what could have been, you know, a bunch of kids were gathering. And we did the sound check. It was me and Eitan were the only ones that needed a sound check. Everyone else was just doing stand up. So we did 30 seconds of our song, and it's just like fucking violent, like rape rap, like necro, or like, you know, it was really horrifying. And then, so we didn't know, but
Yeah,
you
nobody
know,
said anything then during the sound check. Like,
yeah,
I guess they were saying things about audio quality and so on, but nothing about audio content. Nothing at all
yeah,
was
exactly.
mentioned. Yeah.
Because the lady, like, you know, the booker that was pissed off had no idea comedy was happening in this, you know, area, or what kind of content. I think she just kind of walked by and saw us do horrifying shit.
Right,
and
in front of
she was
children.
sort of like, yeah, like looking on like, oh, this could be an issue. But there was 3 bookers. We found out all this later, that Barry Taylor got us all booked on this show at Warped Tour through Comedy Records, and we were like, oh, this is fucking awesome, like comedy at Warped Tour through this one booker. But there's 2 other bookers. What's up?
It sounded like a cool gig.
Yeah.
I remember when it was happening, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, it's a cool thing, right?
And I'm a scene kid. I was like in a metal band in high school, and like I went to Warped Tour and loved, like, that day before any of this happened, we had the all access pass. I was seeing like August Burns Red, Casey Askren, like Yellow Wolf was there, and I got to like hang out with Yellow Wolf and like do kickflips on his skateboard, and that was so much fun. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to just fucking tear this place apart. Like, and it's such a tease to get to do this 30-second little like, hey, you know. And I noticed like while we were doing the sound check, all the kids started gathering towards the stage, and I'm like, oh, but we were headlining, and all the like stand-ups were gonna go before us. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking insane. Like, I'm so like, if they were losing it for this 30-second little thing, we're gonna do like 2 or 3 songs. I'm gonna light this place up.
You're probably thinking you're going to get a deal. You guys are about to be famous.
Yeah, I'm chatting with Yellow Wolf. I gave him my fucking demo, like this 2-song rap demo that we had. And like, I'm like, this is the best day of my life. It's Warped Tour. And like, and so the booker that booked us, you know, was just sort of like set it and forget it. Like, okay, here's your stage. Thanks. Peace out. And the other booker who had no idea we were there was the one that was eyeing us, going like, what the fuck is this? So I think Des, like, we were all amped up, and you had like just the filthiest fucking set ever. Like,
yeah, and well, it was weird progression too, because it was Matt O'Brien first, and he was very like acceptable in his level of filthiness. Like he was like a bit like racy or whatever, but nothing bad. And then it was Garrett after, and then it was me. So I was like, also that feeling of like that I have to keep up with Garrett. Because of dirtiness. So he did his, and then I was in the middle of mine. And then so there were all the kids in front, but then there was the beer tent further, like not the beer tent, but the beer garden, like beyond the kids. So I was trying to kind of get to them and sort of talk over the kids and hope they would get bored and go away. And they were annoyed and disgusted with me, but not bored, I guess, or like they didn't have anywhere else to go. And then so I was in the middle of the set, and I think I was telling my science joke that ends as a dick joke, which I'm proud of still.
Cum in your blood and blood in your cum?
No.
That's what I remember.
No.
All I remember is something like...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that I had just been saying there's got to be cum if you, I don't know. Anyway, but the punchline was about how much cum you must have in your bloodstream. And then the one booker who didn't identify herself as a booker or any official or anything, just walked up and said, "Do you think that's appropriate for children?"
Like on
not even
stage, like she like, yeah,
yeah.
and she's got tats, like full sleeves, and like a fucking whatever Ramones shirt, like
The most punk
she
rock
just looks
person.
Right, yeah.
She was a really punk 40-year-old.
Yeah.
So she was like right on the stage, and I just thought she was some like regular kind of
Person,
like,
right, accosting you.
Yeah. Just somebody like, because she was so right up in my face, and that's not what a regular heckler does. So
Right.
it put me on guard too. To just like, this person's really got to be unpredictable if they're coming all the way up here. And like, maybe, I don't know, just she seemed pretty nuts. And then so I was like, no, or I don't know what I said. And then so she was like, you have to shut up right now. And then I think I went like to put my arm on her shoulder and say like, hey, relax. Because I still had to like put on airs and pretend that I wasn't scared.
Right.
Embarrassed.
Yeah, you're still trying to exit gracefully, you know.
Yeah. And like I thought like maybe this is just my set's done at that point, but like maybe I can kind of save face and like, work this out and then call up the host again. But then I think it's when I put my arm on her shoulder and she said, "Get your hands off me." And for some reason that was so infuriating to hear that when you're already like full of adrenaline.
Yeah.
And then I think I started going after her then. But I was in kind of a blind rage, so I don't remember that much. And I don't think I even
You're
got
in a full headlock. Like you, like I remember like I'm backstage. I think it was like going to be like you, then O'Gorman, then us. So I'm backstage just watching, and like I remember, oh, if you got, cum in your blood, you must suck a lot of fucking dicks, bud. And then this lady came up, and then all of a sudden you had her in a fucking headlock, like a full out, like you were like trying to like kind of toss her, and it started as kind of like,
to listen
okay.
to you explain it, like there are still moments where you're being rational. You're like, well, these are my bits. I had to amp it up, but then to see just to see somebody watch it, and it's like
the performer side of things.
Then you just grab somebody in the head, like ah!
Yeah. She's like, okay,
you
that's
totally
enough.
seem like a fucking maniac in that moment,
The internal is malaligned with the external.
Right, that's right. That's right.
It equals a state of unhappiness in life.
And then it was all the like, she had a bunch of tech guys. She was just like, shut it down, shut it. Like they literally started get a team of dudes, and they would like, they were tearing down the speakers. They were, getting the mic off stage. They were tearing down even the stage itself, like taking it apart. Like, this is over. You're done. And
Right.
Barry was like, what the fuck's that? Like, what? Like, she's like, do you think that kind of language is acceptable? Like, look, there's 11-year-old children here. And we're like, we didn't fucking hop a fence and start like cussing at kids. Like,
yeah,
we're booked on this show, and no one vetted our shit whatsoever. It was like, come do your set. Okay. And
cool.
I remember you were in like kind of detained, or like you were in some office or something.
Yeah, they
separated from us.
They made me sit on a chair by a tent, and they they made me sit and be quiet. And and they brought a cop over, and she was trying to be charged with assault. And then I remember I felt really dumb because she was like talking and saying, "You're gonna get charged with assault. Like, how dare you? The cops are coming for you. You're going to jail," and all that stuff. And then I was still like, I guess just in that headspace, I said, "Oh, what? You're going to charge me for assault because I hurt your feelings?" And she said, "No, it's because you laid hands on me in front of 1,000 people." Oh, right.
The pride was hurt too. Not just that you laid hands on me. In front of 1,000 people, and they all saw me get hands laid on me.
Who broke it up? Was it security just came running in, or?
I think
I remember
O'Gorman was trying to get me to just quit. I think
just wanted to go out next.
It wasn't for the best.
We wanted to go on still. Yeah, I think like I remember you kind of getting like not carried off, but like escorted off stage by a couple of like roadies.
Yeah.
or security or whatever they were, just guys in black shirts, and O'Gorman trying to talk, and Barry trying to talk to that lady, who we then found out was a fucking booker. We just thought she was a psycho. And then, so Barry's trying to calm her down, and we're thinking like we could keep the show going. Okay, cool. The cum and the blood stuff is done. And
Here comes the rape rap.
I just was so like, I was already like, we had these little like Catholic
If you
school
talk
boy
about them
uniforms.
both separately, is that so cool?
Yeah. Can I go up though? Like everyone's watching. Like what? Like can I do my thing, please? Like
Yeah, right.
it was such a tease, man. I was like fucking 14-year-old kid at Warped Tour wanting, like
So close to living your
Warped
dream.
Tour.
And then Desiree snatched it out.
Yeah,
of
and
your
I got
hand.
this 30
Yeah.
seconds of like,
The
I
story's
was so
better than
pissed. I was
the
like-
moment, though.
Yeah.
and then that's what everyone was just like, hey, dude, like you got kicked off of Warped Tour. Like that's I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but oh man, it would have been real nice to
It's pretty rock and roll though.
perform.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
Yeah.
remember that, like, I think it got really petty and stupid too, because during the like trying to talk to her before I got escorted out, there was some conversation back and forth about like this is a punk environment, which is also just in and of itself so lame.
It's a punk
Yeah.
environment.
How dare you sully the punk?
Here it's very punk. This should be a punk
That
behavior.
is great.
You see this tattoo here with the sad face?
There will be no anarchy in this punk environment.
Right.
Yeah, it was 2011 punk, boys. So 2011 punk. That's vegan and straight edge and just fuck the government, but love everyone else.
Yeah. It was largely centered around what's that store? I don't know. I started that joke and then I realized I didn't remember what mall punk
West
store.
49.
West
Well,
49.
yeah, it was very West 49 and Hot Topic. It was Hot
Hot
Topic.
Topic.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I looked around. I was like, fuck, I don't remember. Like, we all were amped because it was Warped Tour. Let's do the most fucked up shit we can. I saw, like, hour before we were on, Acacia Strain is this, like, deathcore band. It's fucking nuts. Like, I was in that mosh pit. These guys, they scream the most insane death metal ever. And, like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck this place up. This is Warped Tour. And then you look out at, like, a pizza and moms and their 10-year-old kids, and I'm like, why are we here? Like, why did you put us in this specific, if we were like 30 feet over in the other fucking allotted area,
Right.
all the 19 plus kids would have lost their fucking minds. That would have been great.
Well, because it's like, somebody thinks, oh, comedy, and doesn't realize that there's different genres within comedy, just like there is music, right? They're just like, oh, here's this thing, comedy. Like, oh, those people over there, those old people would like music. Like, they don't fucking associate any type of, like, type or delineation or what's, or vet, like you said.
Yeah.
So what about Timothy? Have you seen Timothy getting into any fights? Desiree, like, just like the two of you, and he was defending your honor or anything?
Recently that hasn't had to happen, but I know that like when he was in middle school, like when he was establishing his dominance over his bad school, a kid knocked some books out of his hands and he broke the kid's nose. I think he headbutted him in the face.
Oh, and a grade 8 headbutt, that's early.
Yeah. I think he got a lot of it out early, so he didn't have to do too much later.
Right, he just saved it for Jay when they had their spats.
Yeah.
Passing the torch,
And then another time, I think this is probably the coolest thing ever, and probably part of what made me fall in love with him too, is another time in middle school, a kid punched him in the face, just trying to like show off. And then so he was like, all right, I'll bide my time. And then so he like hung around in the yard and just let the blood fill up in his mouth. And we're probably doing that for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then just walked away from the fight and then walked back and spat all the blood in the guy's face. Probably the best.
Wait,
moment.
was he telling you this story? Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it, but
I was gonna say, have you guys been together since the 8th grade? This is weird.
Yeah.
They're just beautiful stories that I've heard.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Guys,
So
were you and Tim at
what?
that McDonald's when me and Garrett, like,
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, that one was like
tell us from your perspective, Desiree, what happened there.
Well, in that one, it was late at night in the McDonald's that's at Queen and Spadina across from the Wheat Chief.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of scum hanging out there.
Oh, King, yeah.
King Bathurst, brah.
Yeah, King and Bathurst. And then I think there was a kid, like I don't know, like 18 or 19-year-old kid getting fries. And then there was a just like club guy behind him. And I think that like 18-year-old was like a little chubby guy. And then the club guy was like, hey, fatty, are you going to eat those fries, fatty? And just for no reason. And then Jay and Gare were like.
That was the third infraction, by the way. That was
what did he do
that was like later in the, we were eating a bunch of, obviously just sloppy drunk 3 a.m. McDonald's. And this guy comes in like fresh out of the clubbing district from like that King Street, Toronto.
Oh yeah.
And vest. He had this like one of those vests on and the, a popped collar, obviously.
I didn't know he had a vest.
Yeah, he had a fucking vest.
That's a first infraction.
Strike one.
Second infraction coming up.
Yeah, there was this like precious little girl behind the counter, like a 16-year-old fucking brown girl behind the counter that was working a midnight shift at King and Bathurst. Like,
right. Her parents were probably dead set against it,
Yeah, and he just right away he pushes his way through to the front of the line, like literally like elbowing people out of the way. And we're already eating, so I'm just like watching this fucking. He just goes, "Whose fucking dick do I gotta suck to get a fucking burger around here?" And it just quiets. Like it's like this. It's a sea of human beings in this place, like cramming out into the street, and everyone just goes quiet because he's just like alphaed up hard. And so I just like fucking. What? Yeah, and his.
Whose dick do I gotta suck to get?
Whose dick do I?
Ronald's.
And she's like, oh, so, this poor girl behind the counter. Come on, you fucking bitch. Like, he's like calling her a bitch. She's being, and she was like fucking 4 feet tall, and this guy's like way bigger than me. And I'm like, fuck this clown. And then so I let it go. I don't say anything. And then we're all leaving, and he pushes his way out. And then he pushes past Garrett and looks Garrett's girlfriend, Noelle, up and down. Right in front of Garrett, and it's just like, yo, you should watch out. Like, you should watch your girl, bro. She's a fucking looker. And was just like, just eye fucking her. And he had a girl with her. He had this blonde girl, like he had his arm around her. And she's like, shut up. And then they walk outside, and I'm like, fuck this fucking clown. Like, and then out of nowhere, so he's outside, and that's what Des described. There's this like chubby little dude with a McDonald's bag in his hand. He just knocked the bag out of his hand, and it was just like, and the guy's like, "What the fuck, man? What the fuck?" And he's like, "What do you do about it, Tubby? What do you do about it, Tubby?" And it's just towering over this guy.
Yo, this guy was on fire before you did.
And I'm just like the whole time, like, fuck this fucking clown. Like, so I don't say a word at all. Like, I'm just staring daggers, and he crosses the street out on King, like, literally like getting into a cab, and then he looks back over, still talking shit, and I'm just staring. I'm just looking like this, just like silent. And he's looking at me. He's like, "You fucking want some?" And I just like yeah. So he closes the door of the cab and walks back across the street, like on King Street too. Like there's the streetcars. Like we meet in the fucking at the yellow line. But he's still got his bag in his hand, and I just know because I've seen him. He's like, "What are you gonna do, Tubby? What are you gonna do?" He's just all talk. I knew he wasn't gonna fucking do anything. He just wanted to talk to me, and so I meet him in the yellow line, and I just 2-hand pushed him as hard as I fucking could, and he flies backwards in the middle of the street, on the yellow line, and like so we've stopped traffic and there's horns beeping, and I just like knees on the shoulders, just start hammering his fucking face. So many times. And his girlfriend got out of the cab and got on my like backpack on me and was like clawing my face like get off of him. And I just had these like fucking claw marks on me afterwards, but she's on me like get off of him.
The ultimate warrior paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They were little kitty whiskers. So everyone breaks us up. It was like, yeah, Tim, Des, and Garrett was there, Eitan, and like we get broken up. And this guy's just out, like he was bleeding from his face. He was like out on the middle of the street, and we're now across the street on the sidewalk, and this guy kind of stumbles up, and I didn't know this at all. I'm just talking to Garrett, and all of a sudden Garrett like punches beside my face.
Yeah.
And because the guy came after me again from behind.
Yeah, got back
but
up.
I just was talking to Garrett. Yeah, and he just like kind of punched beside me, and he knocks this guy out. Like it was that classic sound of like you heard him be knocked out on his feet, and then he crumpled and just like smacked against the pavement, and we're both just like, oh, like that. I don't know. It just sounded fucking terrible. Like it was like 2 clicks, and even Garrett, like he's obviously, like you guys said, like such a nice guy. Yeah. And I was never out to like try to fucking kill anybody or anything. Like, you know, so we're both just like over him.
Garrett had to do that to keep his girl from deflecting to you. He knew he had to step up after he was like, you better watch it. She's a looker. And then you pumped him for that. I was like, oh, shit, he's right, man.
That was his time to shine.
Yeah, and then we ran, and then I realized the girl had my hat in her hand, and we ran back to his house. It was like a block away. And I was like, fuck, she's got my hat, and I just bought that hat, and it was nice. And so Garrett's a nice guy. He ran back, and he's like, I got it. And he told me later, but he just like ran back, and the ambulance was there, and the guy was up on his like sitting up against the wall, like he was fine, he was awake. Yeah. But the paramedic was checking him out, and he just kind of like tiptoed in and like, you know, pinched the hat out of this girl's hand and like ran it back to me, and I was like, thanks, buddy, thank you so much.
My brother got into a fight with these guys at this party in Atlanta after it was like a college party, and one of his friends on the hockey team picked a fight with a football guy, and they get into it, and it's, you know, a big brawl breaking out, and this other guy gets involved. So my brother comes in and one punch knocks the guy out, and he's like, okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here, right? Because the whole party's about to turn on him. They're leaving, and then my brother's like, oh shit, I don't have my keys. His keys fell out in the middle of the fight, so he had to go back to the melee.
To the scene.
Yeah, and anyone else want some of this?
He's stepping around with his feet, trying to hear a little jingle, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to have to return to the scene of the crime, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys get any fights when you were down in New York? Other than with
that's where I like. Not any like that. The one I described outside of Katz's Deli with Tim was like, we called each other the next day and we're like, hey, we can't, like, I don't know. We were there on the, like, you know, a performance visa with like no health insurance at all. Very like,
yeah, you gotta be careful.
You know,
oh yeah, dude.
Just know whether it was medical or law, like kicked out of the country for sure. So I just remember, and I think by the time we moved to New York, I was already like 27. So I felt like I don't know, the one fight I got into before we moved to New York, I was like 26-ish. And I just remember it hurting way more than the other ones. Like, not that I'm crazy old or anything, but like, I just remember like, oh, I had like goose eggs all over my head, and my fists were like bloodied up and scraped, and it was on cement, so I was very scraped up, and like, I don't know, I just thought it took a while to heal up from that one, and I was like, knew I was moving to New York soon, and I don't know, I was like, I can't. I'm done. And I think that was my last like real one.
Last melee. And that still holds now?
Yeah.
I give him anything. Desiree, when was the last time you were Desiree, have you gotten any mom fights?
No, I haven't gotten any like semblance of a fight at all since that Warped Tour one, but I expected that, because I thought like, okay, well, it was about 5 years from the one with the gun to the Warped Tour one, and I expected like, oh, in about 5 years I'll probably have another fight. Look forward to it.
Yeah, well, maybe 10 years will be the number.
Yeah.
Hopefully
soon. A kid pushed my daughter over at the community center a while ago. I was going to knock his fucking face in, but
yeah, I remember a kid hit my daughter with a truck in the face, And I looked at the kid and I went, "That is not nice." Like, and I was like showing. It was just like, ah, and then I immediately turned for like a parent to like hurt and beat, but the parent wasn't there. And then the daycare worker went from being like, "Don't do that," to being like, "Hey, he's just a kid." I was like, "I don't care if he's a kid." Like,
Yeah.
savage. So I think that is always like a potential fight, like just in the rears. A kid's acting like a dick. There's nothing you can do about it. But the second the parent is like, "Well, too bad," it's just like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always looking for
I'm
another.
sorry you had to see this, Mary. But it will come.
Des, were you there? Like, speaking of Noel and Garrett, we were at like a karaoke the one night at Fox and the Fiddle where Noel got pushed by that bouncer, and I went at him pretty hard. I don't know if you're. That was forever ago, but
Yeah, that I don't.
it reminds me of like the. What was that?
That I don't. I'm just gonna have to Tim asked for a diaper and a pair of pajamas by the doors. Oh, here's all the laundry.
I've got the same pile of laundry on my couch right now.
I'll be right back.
No, it just reminded me of yours, John. Like the we're all at this karaoke, and me and Tim. It was a great one at like a Fox and the Fiddle on Bloor, where they did metal songs. So me and Tim Dorsch would do like System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine and stuff. And Garrett's girlfriend Noelle, she was dancing on a table, and we were all just drunk as fuck, like 2 a.m. or something. She's dancing on this table, and this huge Russian bouncer, like just this giant man, grabs her by the arm and yanks her down off the table to the ground, like from. It just felt like a 10-foot like slam down.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the, like, you could see the vibe in the room was just like, oh, like fucking overboard, dude.
Right.
And I went up to him right away and was just like, "Don't touch her," and I punched him in the face as hard as I could.
No.
And it just reminded me, and he was this fucking like Drago fucking giant man, but it had this like drunk sense of fucking, fuck this guy. But it's reminded me of your like, "That's not nice." I was like, "Don't touch her." And to this guy, because I just hit him again. Like, it's so weird that I'm telling these two stories of hitting a guy and it doing absolutely nothing.
That's my nightmare.
Other ones where I
throwing everything I got into somebody and then just stay there and take it. And you're like, "Oh, now what?"
Big bouncer, dude. Like, and then so I hit him so hard, like, "Don't touch her." Just fucking cracked him. Same idea. I just kind of like shrugged it off and looked down at me. I was like, "Fuck." And he like picked me up with a headlock, like had me off the ground, like choking me. Like, he's got me in a headlock and lifts his arm up, and my feet are dangling off the ground, like he's hanging me.
One arm.
and then walking towards the door. So I'm just punching like behind, like knowing where his face is, and trying to like get him to let go of me, just constantly like hitting like this. And he drops me, and then his other, must have been a cousin or brother or something, like fucking duplicate of a big man, came in, and one guy grabbed me by the neck, one guy grabbed me by the feet, and walked me out onto Bloor Street and like hammocked me, like heave a hoe out onto the street. And I just landed on my back and my side. It hurt so fucking bad, and I just sprung back up and ran at him again and punched him again. And then he like and there's two of them too. Like, one of my, like, no, just, I'm such a psycho. Like, I have no thought of real consequences yet. Like, this is before I actually ever got hurt in anything. I'm just swinging and like yelling the whole time, like, "This is what you get." Oh yeah, the McDonald's one too. It was a similar, like, on the yellow line of King Street where I'm hitting the McDonald's guy, was just like, "This is what you get when you're an asshole. This is what you get when you are a piece of shit to people," like just trying to teach a lesson.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Yeah.
And I was doing that
was like a little bit of a Robin Hood moment though.
Yeah, that one, like, yeah. Because
you nailed the bouncer, and then what happened?
Oh, then he put me up against the wall, and I'm still going like, "You don't touch women. You don't fucking." I think I'm like 20, 21 or something, and just like screaming and flailing.
Never been in a real relationship before.
Yeah, just like, "You don't hit women. I heard things on TV about not hitting women, and you shouldn't do it." and I'm just swinging at him, like trying to teach him a lesson. So he just grabs me by the neck and like puts me up against this brick wall, and I'm still kind of swinging and chirping. And I just remember like slowly getting choked out, and
so he knocked you out.
Yeah, he really like, whether I think it was his like elbow or something up against me, but I just remember going like, "You don't fucking touch women, you don't fucking touch women," like, and just.
I was gonna say, his like considering his response to her dancing on the table, like his response to you was much more tame. Like I was expecting him to try and crush your head. Like you punched him.
Oh, the one guy was like, he was choking me out, and the other guy was just fucking like punching me like in the not in the face, but in the chest, and like they had me up against the wall, and all my like, you know, Tim and Garrett and everyone were just trying to like pull them off of me. But I don't really remember. I just remember, I had a bruised up chest the next day, and I was knocked out cold, and I woke up like probably not too long after, but the bouncers were both back inside.
Right. Those are two of my nightmares. Throwing everything I got into somebody and hitting them, and then them just turning around like that's it. And then the other one is getting choked out.
I've had nightmares about it afterwards. And I was just like, fuck. Like, and after that, I was still, both of those stories, I was still probably like 21 or 22. And I remember being like, I need a fucking, like, I can't do this little anymore. Like,
right.
I worked out. I tried to like, just, you know,
right.
I felt very like,
my one nightmare I used to have was being on the subway on the Bloor line and getting into it with somebody, and then pulling myself up like I'm doing a chin up and doing like a 2-foot kick right in the guy's face, and then him just going like just not phasing him, and then me going like, and then just my heart dropping, and then me waking up like, oh god, like right before you were gonna die. Like I used to have that.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Jay, question for you. You mentioned you got 29 zips from a bottle. What was that, from a fight or just a random?
Yeah,
tell us.
That was a nutty, like at Fanshawe College at Humber too. I was in second year. I think I was like 20, and they would have these insane block parties on the off-campus housing at Fanshawe, and we were drinking all day. We would start drinking like, you know, college, like right when you get up, cooler on the lawn chairs, and it was a kind of like a cul-de-sac like that where you could see across the street and all around you in a big circle was just lawns of different parties of people drinking, and we're out there all day. And it was starting to get dark, and it must have been like midnight or 1 a.m. like drinking for fucking 12-13 hours. And this guy in like a tiger, like a mascot outfit, you could see him from across the street walking around to every, like bouncing around, kicking over someone's cooler, you know, pushing someone off their chair, and then going off to the next one. And I just saw him, like I could just eye him doing it to everybody, and you know it's coming to us. So my buddy Angelo it was with all my Welland Notre Dame high school friends that were all going to Fanshawe, and I was there visiting for the weekend. So like, he knew this guy was coming and was like, fuck this clown. And we were on the end of the block, and beside the house was like a ravine, like a pretty big hill going down to a little ditch or whatever. So he's like, fuck this guy. And he saw Tony the Tiger come around to us, and he just grabs him, throws the tiger down the ravine. His head flies off, and everyone, the whole, what was that? I can't hear you.
He had the mascot head too.
Yeah, and the head flies off, and like, so now it's just some asshole, and everyone's laughing now. Like the whole block is like, fuck this clown, he just got what he deserved. But then he has no sense of humor about it whatsoever. He's like, what the fuck, bro? And he like, such a broy fucking jock dude, like climbs back up the hill and was like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck, bro? And we're like, buddy, fuck you. Like, what do you, get the fuck out of here. He's like, I'll be back. You fucking wait, bro. I'll be back. And we're like, okay, whatever. Go back to sitting, drinking, wait. There's so much more. Out of nowhere, you see around the corner, Tony the fucking Tiger and like 20 of his, I'm not kidding, there was like 5 of us.
Count Chocula.
Like, yeah.
Cereals. Yeah.
Fruit Loops, buddy. We were fucked. We had
yeah,
no
Toucan
chance.
Sam was the first one around the corner. They're over here.
pecking motherfuckers.
Follow
Just
my
pecking
nose.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I smell blood. No, and he's like, it's so funny watching someone take it that seriously in a fucking like tiger outfit.
I can't
But
believe he came back and he
got-
was still in the same outfit. That's ridiculous.
he had a wall of dudes. Yeah, he's like, I'll be back. He goes to whatever party he was hanging out at and get all his friends. He must have burst in there going like, guys, these dudes kicked my ass.
Where's your
Someone
head,
found
bro?
my
They
fuck-
took your head? They took your fucking
Yeah.
head?
Yeah, it was some like fraternity thing where like, we got to get the head back.
Yeah.
We got to get the... I just was like, that was the most heart-sinking feeling. Like the other ones, Moses, when you described like the punch and like, oh shit, like that sucked. But this was just like, it was like Braveheart, dude. It was like watching like fucking 20 dudes
Yeah.
walking towards you with intent. Like no fucking around West Side Story was like, oh shit. Like we stood up and there was 5 of us and they just like circled us. We're like, all right, fuck. And
Well, you gotta hope 10 of them are non-participants, you know?
yeah, hopefully there's a bunch of spectators because I knew the guys that were with me were very down to I've seen them in many fucking crazy scraps. We got into scrap 2 the day before, like so I was already on top of the world. Like I had the day before that when I was in a couple of really good ones, but this one, so I'm all cocky, but they're just talk. It's just sort of like the same shit where they're like circle you, push you around. No one's that big or fucking scary at all. They're just a bunch of like, what the fuck? You do my friend, bro. You push my friend, bro. For like 10 minutes. Like it's just all talk forever. And I'm like, okay, like you clearly don't want to scrap that. And I've never really been a chirper where I'm like, I don't know. I always want to be quiet and be the one that swings and not talks. But like I was way too cocky, I think, at this point. And I was like, okay, clearly you don't want to scrap that bad or something would have happened by now. So fuck off because you're ruining our night. Like, okay, bye now. And then the guy I said that to was like, yeah, you're next, bitch. And he like face palm, like pushes my face so hard where I almost fell backwards. So you're next, bitch. And he face pushed me. I was like, fuck this fucking clown. I just hit him so like square in the nose. I just saw his fucking like a cherry, like,
Yeah.
and he went down, and right away the guy behind him had a bottle. I don't know why. I think people told me later it was a 26er of Canadian Club over the face, like just drag. I didn't know. You just like you get hit. I felt wetness, and I was like, but then everything started going down. So I was like, okay, just stay up. I had my eyes closed, and I just was blindly like whoever in front of me just punching the air.
And Tim was there. He's like, it's me.
Hey Jay, stop! I wanted to surprise you. But I was getting hit from fucking like left, right,
even
center.
after the bottle. So the bottle didn't stop him.
The
Huh?
bottle was the first hit on me,
Wow.
and then everyone like. So whoever like I don't know really. My eyes were closed, and I had to get my eyes flushed out with. I can send you guys a picture after. It was like 5 stitches along my eyelid, 4 along my nose right here. It was like 9 stitches in and around my eye. It split my eyelid, but it didn't luckily touch my eye.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then the bottle, like this big guy. I don't know if you like.
Dude, if you would have been stuck with an eye patch, there's no way you could have shaken this mentality and become the down-to-earth cool guy you are now, dude. That would have been a sentence to fuck
I thought it
around
was
your
because it was
whole
so
life.
scary. It was like, you look like Frankenstein after because you get like, you come out of the hospital stitched up and look like a fucking roadmap. And I still got the big guy in the center of my head.
Yeah, you healed up good.
Scratched my skull. Thanks. Yeah, it was they called an on-call surgeon. It was like an on-call doctor that looked at me and was like, I'm not trained to do this. So he froze me, and we waited like an hour for an actual surgeon, like a plastic surgeon, to come in to like delicately, like really.
And you paid nothing for that.
So grateful.
A man got out of bed and came and sewed you up, and you paid nothing for that.
Canada, but it was
Canada's
London,
the best.
Ontario.
Canada's the best.
And he was such a nice guy. He was like holding a mirror up to me. He was just like, see that? Like the big guy here, it took an actual scratch out of my skull. Like it split the muscle underneath and scratched the skull. So he pointed, he's like, that's your skull. And it was like this white like patch.
Oh man.
And I was like, that's fucking crazy, man. That's nuts. And he like stitched me up finally. But the next day I was so like, my nose was broken. My eyes were puffy. I got fucked up. It was like definitely three guys just hammering on my face after I got bottled.
Right.
And I stayed up the whole time. That was my, just try to hold on to something. And a girl from inside the house, Sam, great pal, took her pink hoodie off and wrapped it around my face and brought me in the house. And I remember that's when I realized something was that fucked up, because then she took the hoodie off and I was over like a basin, and I just saw it like pouring, like fountaining out of my head, and I was like, "Fuck, that was scary."
And
yeah, they like flushed my eyes out. What's up?
That was the day Tiger King was born.
Yeah.
There was like little pieces of glass coming out of your forehead for years after that.
Yeah, there's still one in there. Like they work their way out like zit.
Yeah.
You think it's like
I was in a car accident and I rolled a Ford Explorer, and there's like still little pieces of glass in my hip that little fine pieces that'll come out once in a while. You can still feel the bumps. This is probably 15 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this was it must have been 05.
I've never heard of that happening.
But they would work their way out. Like some of them would look like a whitehead, and I go to pop it, and this little shard would fall out. And there's one in there that's still in that will never come out. But
you're like, I'm Wolverine, woo!
Yeah, healing properties.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm sure you still guys got a couple more in the chamber. Maybe we can get you back on with Garrett and some of the other. We gotta
get Tim on now. We talked about him enough that.
I know he's got.
We can get Tim to tell the homeless stabbing story.
Yeah. I guess he almost blinded Garrett one time, but that's a story.
Yeah. He probably just took his shirt off in August.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, guys. Thanks for coming on. I don't know. Nobody's doing live shows anymore. But are you guys plugging anything? What do you got going on? Kill All Book?
Our YouTube channel, me and Eitan do YouTube comment theater, where we like reenact YouTube comments in funny ways.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, we put those out every Tuesday, and our albums, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you can find the goods.
Cool. And that's Rick and Chuck, right?
No, that's all just Jay and Eitan. We haven't. It's 2020. We haven't been able to do violent gangster rap in quite a while.
Oh, okay. So Jay, if they look up Jay and Eitan, they can find the albums. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Desiree, we just pump like a GoFundMe for diapers or something?
Yeah. Just sending money for whatever. I'm not really doing anything right now.
Yeah.
But if anybody needs an animator for something, I use my hands for non-violence these days. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a not children's book. Mm-hmm. That I'm working on. Maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah.
We should get some of our fight stories animated too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in.
Cool.
All right. Thanks,
guys. This was I was so amped up for this. I was like, oh man, I get to socialize, and like I haven't done this as such a different human, like Des talked about earlier, where we're like, honestly a different person now, but getting to get back and like actually talk about this stuff is.
It's so funny because when me and Tyler first started doing this podcast, I was like, man, I'm sick of trying to hide this guy. I just want to tell him my own fight stories.
Yeah, when we mentioned it earlier, but like the goal when you're, for me anyways, in teens and 20s was just like gathering all these fucking insane stories. It was like, if I'm on my couch, I'm a boring fucking nobody. I got to be out there doing insane things and tell these stories. But then all of a sudden, you kind of grow up a little bit, and it's rare to get to like tell these stories where people actually think they're funny or cool,
or even believe them.
Yeah,
exactly. Or it's like, no fucking way.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, all right, cool.
It's great having you on the show, and if you hadn't got the eye patch, you would have been on season 1.
I'll send you the picture of that roadmap.
Send it to us. We'll tweet it out when we put out the episode.
Nice.
Thanks.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys,
thanks so much for having us.
Bye. Kiss the babies.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.